Alright, today is calculating and comparing square roots, so we're going to start off first with a couple of definitions. The first definition I have is the perfect square. Perfect square. Alright? A perfect square is the number that is the square of an integer. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. The second one is the radicand. Radicand. Alright, that's a D. Alright, radicand. It's the number inside the radical symbol. Now you'll see here that we have the square root of 7. The square root of 7. 7 is the radicand. Alright? 7 is the radicand. Alright? If we have the square root of 64, 64 is the radicand. Alright? Now what the perfect square is if a number times itself equals the radicand, that's 64, then we have a perfect square. So what we can do is we can make a list here, go 1 squared equals 1. 2 squared equals 4. 3 squared is 9, 3 times 3. 4 squared is 16. 5 squared is 25. 6 squared is equal to 36. 7 squared is equal to 49. 8 squared is equal to 64. And 9 squared is equal to 81. So I'm taking the square root of 64. This is the opposite of a squared. So I have 64 right here. So the square root is equal to 8. Therefore, 64 is a perfect square. 7 is not in any of these lists here. So 7 is not a perfect square. What I want to do here, we've talked a little bit about this here. One way you can think about square rooting is, let's say I had a square and its area was 16. What's the side length here? The side length is going to be 4 because 4 times 4 is 16. So it's a perfect square. That's another way we get perfect square. All right. Are these perfect squares? Is 56 a perfect square? Does something times itself equal that number inside? Well, 7 times 8 equals 56, but that's not the same number, so that doesn't count. So no, 56 is not a perfect square. 81, 9 times 9 is 81, so the square root of 81 is 9. So yes, that is a perfect square. All right. 48. Does anything times itself equal 48? 7 times 7 equals 49, but 6 times 8 is 48. So that is not a perfect square. Let's talk about how we estimate square root. Let's estimate 56. So let's take a step back when we're going to make that list again. So I like making this list. 6 squared equals 36. 7 squared equals 49. We're still under 56, so I need to keep going. 8 squared is equal to 64. Alright, now I'm over this. So what I know is 56, it goes somewhere right in here. Alright, which means my answer is going to be between 7 and between 8. Now we're, what, 7 away here and 8 away here. You can see 56 minus 49 is equal to 7. And 64 minus 56 is equal to 8. So we're roughly halfway in between. So if I was going to estimate it, the square root of 56 is going to be roughly 7.5. Alright? So that's how I would estimate square roots. Last thing I want to do is compare. Remember, compare means greater than, less than, equal to. So I take the square root of 9. Alright? 3 times 3 equals 9. So the square root of 9 is 3. 49. 7 times 7 is 49. So the square root of 49 is 7. Alright? 3 plus 7 is equal to 10. 5 times 5 equals 25. So the square root of 25 is 5. 6 times 6 is 36. So the square root of 36 is 6. 5 plus 6 equals 11, which means my answer is going to be the less than symbol. Well, that's all I got, so hopefully this makes sense. If not, we'll talk about it more. Just let me know. Have a great evening.